gonna talk a little bit about digital storytelling and how you can do it safely. But as a sort of introduction, why we are taking the time to talk about digital storytelling? And why do storytelling at all? I like to share with you a quote of a philosopher called Jean-Francois Lyotard. And he says, talking about our generation, simplifying to the extreme, I define postmodern as incredulity towards meta-narratives. The narrative function, thank you, is losing its functors, its great hero, its great dangers, its great voyagers, its great goal. It's being dispersed in clouds of narrative languages, where after the meta-narratives can legitimacy reside. Translating that to English, what Lyotard was trying to say, that our generation has a very unique characteristic. We are kind of averse of those big meta-narratives, those big absolutes, or the true church, the absolute truth, and these kinds of things. People are kind of, when you start to talk that language right up front, people start to close down. They get in a defensive position because that's just natural. You may not notice this when we're talking that on church because you're already used to the church language. You probably was born in church. But when you see people talking like that on those absolutes, regardless the subject, you start to get defensive because we are just not made for that. A lot of people follow Lyotard in that thing. Most people on the planet perhaps never heard about him. Nonetheless, we actually are doing what he predicted on 79 when this line was originally written. And what's the most effective way to reach somebody of our generation or younger? Is through storytelling. Why? Because people are, as we explain, closed when you come to a pulpit or to some public place and talking on the same old platform you use, like beasts and this and that. That's all good and has its place, but they close down. However, when you share your story, something personal, something that happened with you, something that they can relate, people open up, and through sharing experiences, sharing life, sharing your life, they can relate, they can feel that that's something real, and slowly but steadily, they get in closer and closer. And eventually, as Jesus did, you can say, follow me. So that's why storytelling is such an important topic nowadays. And how we can share our stories. Each one of us, we have like a limited reach. You have your social circles, but I personally want to talk to much more people. So we can use social media as a way to do digital storytelling, to help to bridge the gap, to enlarge my sphere of influence. And I'm gonna talk here today about a few techniques, a few things that you can use to share your story, to share something meaningful to reach people to Jesus, and trying to keep safe while you do that. So that's our main theme for today, social media security. I'm gonna start with a brief overview, some threats, some challenges we face, and how better ways to do it. There's thousands of social media networks around. That's just like a little sample. And I'm going to give a special prize if you can count them and give me the right number at the end. 3 seconds. But let's focus on like the big ones. The biggest one around is Facebook. Facebook has 1.6 million as of 10:20 this morning. As of 10:20 this morning, they had 1.44 billion access monthly through mobile phones alone. 500 million pictures uploaded every day. The other two big ones are way below. So, because of time, most of what I'm going to be discussing today will be about, I'm concentrating Facebook. So, since it's the biggest one out there, we don't have time to go to the whole presentation. That's an hour long. So, but why doing that? Just to reinforce. Like even companies are using social media today to sell products, to sell ideas. How? Not on a traditional way, but they invest in a platform so people can share their experience with their product or their ideology. And by association, similar people seeing other people just like them doing the same things or buying the same products and liking and enjoying their life, they attract other people. And that's the way, as a church, we should use as well. Not as a unilateral platform like from a corporative view, but as a one-to-one effort that's backed up by a whole worldwide church. So, what is out there? Since I personally think, and I share my friend from the Spanish Union, Pedro, thank you. I share with my friend Pedro the idea that every member should be involved on that, in preaching the gospel. And everyone should be willing to share their stories. Some of you prefer to share one by one, and that's good. That's the best way and most effective. And others may try to get a broader audience using social media to reach more people that feel similar things, that share similar interests. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. But if you live and share Jesus by doing that, you'll be reaching people by sharing bits and pieces of your life. So, but using those platforms, what are the things that we, as individuals and as corporation, we should look for? First thing is that social media are excellent platforms for sharing malware. And the best example to date happened in 2009. It was known as the cob-face worm. He used as media of transmission Facebook. And he was, once he infected your profile, he would infect posts. So when a user clicked the post to see it, he would get infected too. And the thing was going. And not only was jumping from profile to profile, but infecting computers, and that was the main objective. He infected computers with malware and would use those computers as bots to be remotely controlled. Took a good while so they could crack this up. And not to mention other things that are going on, like hoaxes and letters and things that you click and end up infecting. And that can be very damaging, even if it's done on a personal level, but more damaging yet when done on a corporate level. And that can be very scary. And the most popular way you can get infected today on Facebook is like using those Facebook games, some of those cute apps, and why? Because they are not screened at all. Many of them. I read an article 6 months ago, that tells that about 1/3 of those apps are actually malicious in some way, shape, or form. As the famous 1800s, early 1900s entertainer P.T. Barnum used to say, there's a sucker born every minute. And unfortunately, we are those suckers because we use those apps. And that can be very damaging. Let me just share a personal story. I almost had a very good fight with my wife. And she's a German, very short temper. And was that way because somebody didn't use their Facebook right. Their corporate Facebook page ended up being locked up, and a lot of weird stuff was being posted. And I was a pastor. That was 2 years ago. I was a pastor in Brazil. Every day, I used to post a Bible commentary on my Facebook profile and throughout social media. And I would read on my bed, side by side with my wife, devotionals and everything, and then I would write those things. And every morning, I used to go to the page of the South American division to take whatever they write and see if I can reuse it. And their page got hacked, their account got locked down because one of the administrators downloaded one of those dumb applications. His account was locked down, and now the pages he managed got locked down, and one was the South American division. And I was browsing up as soon as I opened a very nasty pornographic scene, and my wife looked to my phone right at that moment, and she screamed, "What?" And like 15 minutes later, I could explain. I survived, as you can see, but it was tough. So let's watch those things, because it's dangerous. Other threats that we may face on social media is people can get bullied online. We had a couple of years ago another very famous case. The kid was bullied through social media, left and right, and she ended up like writing her suicide note in Facebook and killing herself afterwards. So we should be very protective, especially of our youth, and we should teach them how to use social media right to be protected from those predatory use of social media. But one thing that's especially concern to me on the subject we are talking here about storytelling, people sometimes get confused storytelling with what I call shelf life. Like they overexpose themselves throughout social media, showing all sorts of things, totally unnecessary, lot of extra information that doesn't add up. We have to share just meaningful pieces of our life experience to the extent that can help somebody to be drawn near Jesus. And by overexposing yourself, you can get in a very precarious situation. Just a few examples. Like a lot of people post, I'm going to be out, I'm going to be in vacation, this and this date. Then they post the pictures with GPS locations, of course. And then burglars can look and see you are not there, and they can go and rob your home because they actually know your address because your Facebook profile. So that's an example of overexposing yourself, and that happened time after time on Facebook. Indiscreet posts can lead to very nasty consequences. Why? Because employers, insurers, and other kinds of people They screen social media to see how much will be your premium on the insurance, how much, if you can come or not to this school. And just look to that excerpt. And Novarica, it's one of the prime think tanks that serve the insurance industry. And they say, now, we can now collect information on buying behaviors, geospatial and location information, social media, internet usage, and more. Or electronic trails have been digitized, formatted, standardized, analyzed, and modeled, and are up for sale. Intimidating as it may sound to the individual, it's a great opportunity for business to use this data. So be mindful what you post out there. And few examples of people that actually got fired because misuse of social media, like Virgin Atlantic air hostess that was talking about some mishaps on flights. Fired. Somebody that posted on social media, oh, I got that new job on Cisco, because he was told so, but the guys from Cisco saw it, I won't hire this guy. But his employer also saw it, I'm gonna fire this guy. So, too much information is dangerous. And be aware that what you put there becomes not only public, but becomes a product. I'm gonna skip this one, I just want to read the Facebook one. That's the part of the license that nobody reads it, but you agree nonetheless if you use Facebook. They say, you hereby grant Facebook an irrevocable, perpetual, non-exclusive, transferable, fully paid, worldwide license with the right to sublicense. That means they can give to anybody else they can. To use a copy, publish, stream, store, retain, whatever, thank you. Perform or display, transmit, scan, reformat, modify, edit, frame, translate, yada, yada, a lot of other things that you may not want they do with your stuff. And enable to post, including the websites, and that's the most dangerous part. It's not only what you post in Facebook, but if you link your profile with your website, your blog, or this or that, the contents of those are immediately under this license as well. And they can change, modify, republish, and do whatever. You can say zit about it. And even if we read throughout the end, even when you remove, they have the right to keep the data. That's scary, very scary. And just one of the many news about this, that Facebook and other social media, they actually sell your data to advertisers because you allow them to do it. So be aware of that, what you post, because may be used against you. Another pitfall that you find in social media are like those URL shorteners. People send links for you. They disguise malware on it, but since you don't see what's in there, you end up clicking and go to a different place what the description says. So you have to use certain means to protect yourself against that. But for organizations now, what's in there? Organizations are up to some direct threats. They can be threats like defamation, damage to the brand, or things like that. They can also be victims of unauthorized use of their pages, as just mentioned the South American division example, negative media coverage, and things like that. So a very hallmark case is one that British Petroleum, that was a couple of years ago, and they didn't have a very strong social media team then at the time. They had an oil spill somewhere, and people actually posted a fake Twitter profile as BP. They changed their logo, and they start to bash them online and took like weeks to BP to really understand what was going on. So we should watch social media to see how our brand is being used. Gonna skip those. So what we can do about it. Where do I see my clock, Jennifer?
4 minutes.
Oh, okay. So defenses, what you can do about it. First and foremost, common sense. Let me ask a quick question. How many of you, if you find an unwrapped candy on the floor, eat it? Come on, people. Nobody? But why you install all those apps without checking the source? It's the same thing. Just because it's digital, it's no less harmful. So we have to use common sense. And here are some common sense tips and tricks. Review your privacy settings, because by default, everything you post in Facebook is public and everybody else plus the universe can see. So it's, be aware of those third-party apps, don't install them. Use some anti-phishing tools. There are a lot of browse add-ons that you can install that before you click that URL, he says, oh, that's dangerous, don't click it. So install those kinds of things. Monitor your personal profile online, what people are saying about you. And you can use tools as Spokeo or Google Alerts. And in extreme cases, if you are like being bashed, it's probably better off like close down your profile and change it over. And I'm gonna skip this one. But now, how we can protect our institutions? Many of you here are communicators. Many of you here manage not one, but many corporate Facebook profiles. So, and I bet that 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, you manage by using your own personal account. But on your own personal account, you click here, click there, and you can get compromised very quickly, because we are usually careless with our personal things. And if that happens, you can lose your account hijacked, just like South American Division had about 2 years ago. And how you prevent that? Don't use your personal account for it. Have special accounts just for managing your business account. So you don't mix the two, and if you get compromised there, you won't be compromised on the other one. And the other tip that's equally helpful, you can create a safeguard account by creating an account or inviting somebody. That other account never clicks the invite, saying that he accepts to manage that page. And if one of the admin accounts get compromised and remove all the rest, that pending one will be never removed. Then once everybody else was locked down, you can accept it, be admin, and kick the bad guy out. So that's a very effective way. Before they cut out my microphone, I just want to share 2 things with you. They left a German person with the clock, so can't really have any slack. Sorry for picking in German. Germans are good. I'm married with one, so. As employees, when we post stuff on social media, we should be aware that when you, as a GC employee, as a division employee, as a union employee, as a conference employee, people very easily, they jump when you posting matters of religion and thought and this and that. They immediately associate your position with the church's position. So you should always, when you post on those matters, clarify, I'm posting this not as in my capacity as social worker. It's not the view of my church, it's my own personal view. Unless, of course, you are a spokesperson for the church and you are authorized to post on those matters. So you have always to have that distinction clear to not have the church be misinterpreted by what you post online. And the other thing is that as communicators, you should use tools like How Sociable or Social Go to monitor your social media exposure and how people are using you, how you're being reached, so you can notice real quick when you've been negatively impacted and take action. Make your PR department work right away so you avoid the church name being defamated because we are not monitoring. So that's it.